Hey guys, it's Ricky and Mike again with the Speaking Nerdy podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Secret Invasion episode 3. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing pretty good. I been trying some new things lately, trying to, do some exciting things right now, just kind of increase my, my knowledge and my, just live a little bit, like I've been thinking about, I've been thinking about, I guess they have these, these kind of, I don't know, thrill adventures, like I've been thinking, bungee jumping off of a cliff. You ever thought about doing that?
No.
Skydiving or hang gliding. And so I talked to a friend of mine who's like an adrenaline junkie, and I asked him, what does he do? And every year he goes to Hawaii and he does this thing where he swims with the sharks.
Okay.
So I thought, well, that's interesting. I said, that sounds pretty cool. I said, well, I mean, it sounds kind of expensive. I mean, it's, how much does it cost you? And he, so he told me, he said, well, swimming with the sharks usually cost him an arm and a leg.
It's the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe.
Hey, nerds, this is David with Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of our generation. There is a story, it is written on our souls, and that all of these myths speak to that story. And that is why every Tuesday I talk about Star Wars and Marvel and DC and Lord of the Rings and whatever nerdy things we can think of with my two sons, Sam and Nate. It is a 30 to 45 minute celebration of all the weirdness that we love so much. Basically, Mom said we couldn't talk about it at the kitchen table anymore, so we decided to start a podcast. We hope you'll check it out. It's on every podcast app out there. Tatooine Sons. That's Tatooine SONS.
An arm and a leg. Oh my gosh. I pretty much knew where that one was going the minute you said swim with the sharks.
Yeah. I mean,
It still made me laugh a little bit.
Well, good. Well, I mean, that's okay. I mean, at least I made somebody laugh a little bit. So, folks, tonight, what are we going to talk about? Ricky, tell us again.
Secret Invasion episode 3. And I'm super stoked about this. It's so good.
I've watched the episode twice already.
Oh, my goodness.
Because it was so much the first time. And then I had to unpack it, and I saw things and caught things that I didn't see the first time around. Then I went on the internet to kind of get some, what other people are saying about it. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I didn't pick up on that. So I went back to the movie again and picked up on a few things. So anyway, there's so much to talk about tonight, and a couple of things we missed last week.
Yes.
That's been answered. Well, somewhat answered. Anyway.
Well, I was going to say there was one thing we forgot to talk about that I very specifically wanted to mention, and that I believe that has now confirmed.
Yes, it has.
So we'll get into that when we get into spoilers here in a few moments. But do we have some nerdy news today?
I don't, but do you?
This is a fail.
Hey, let's go ahead. Hold on a minute.
It's time for the nerdy happenings of the week.
So, do we have any nerdy news? We don't? Okay.
And that's all for the nerdy happenings of the week. I think I actually do have some nerdy happenings.
Okay, go ahead.
It's time for the nerdy happenings of the week.
Okay, are we ready yet?
Yes. All right. So we're ready now. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
So we do have just a little bit of nerdy news. I just wanted to start out, I like looking at the box office numbers. So I wanted to start out with the box office numbers for this weekend. And this was a July 4th weekend. So this was a long weekend. But I'm going to stick with just the weekend numbers because I think that's more consistent rather than including the holiday in there. But Indiana Jones, no surprise, Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny did take number 1 at the box office this week. But it did not meet the expectations of, actually, it was just a little lower than most of the experts predicted.
Oh, really?
And I'm sure a lot less than they really hoped for. Only hitting a total of, around 60 million, just over $60 million domestically, which is pretty low for this kind of movie, you would think.
So they paid for half of Harrison Ford's salary. So okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I'm hurt. I'm hearing this movie, easily is over the 200 million mark cost wise.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, worldwide at this point, the worldwide gross is only 154 million. So definitely not where they hoped it to be. But, it is kind of where I kind of expected it to be, just based on other things that have been happening in the industry lately.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And unexpectedly, Elemental came in second. So Disney's Pixar movie is starting to pick up a little traction, but it only came in at 12 million, just barely beating out Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse again.
That's amazing. How long has this Elemental been out? I mean, it's been came out the same
week as The Flash.
It's The Flash, yes.
And just for reference, Flash has fallen from grace. Not that it had much to begin with.
No.
But The Flash came in 8th this weekend.
Man.
Only $5 million. Yeah. Yeah, The Little Mermaid did better than The Flash this weekend.
Man.
So there are movies I never even heard of that did better than The Flash this weekend. And yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of.
I heard that. Little. Yeah, I even heard that video. The little clip they do. Turn off your cell phones did better than The Flash. So, yeah,
wouldn't take much.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about the new Superman and Lois Lane last week, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Now, did we talk about the SAG-AFTRA union strike? Question mark.
Is this where the actors decided to go, depending on how things went with the negotiations?
Yeah, so we did talk about that last.
Have we heard anything else about this?
We haven't yet. We're still waiting for the 12th to see what happens.
Okay.
If they come up with something between now and the 12th, well, I'm not sure how all that's going to fall out, but we're still in a holding pattern at this point.
And for people who don't understand, this of course goes back to the Writers Guild of America. Of course, everything's kind of on hold because as far as a new production, because the writers are on strike for several reasons. Some of it has to do with streaming services and reimbursement there. And so the Actors Guild decided to be be in solidarity with their writing, brethren. And depending on how negotiations go, which should be coming up July the 12th. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, officially it was the 30th of June, and they gave it a 12-day extension.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have to wait and see how that all ends up. And I don't have any other nerdy news. I was just double checking to see if I had anything else. But I don't have anything unless you do.
No, I do not have anything, which is normal. So anyway, yeah. So hey, guys, we're gonna do it again. Hey,
and that's all for the nerdy happenings of the week.
Man, we really used that a lot, didn't we? We just really wore out that intro and outro.
Oh my goodness!
So,
do we have any stupid news today?
Oh man, I was like so into going into the show, but yes, we do have some stupid news. So now with another intro.
This is the Weird and Stupid News with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
See, it's much more serious when you do it live versus the
this
pre-recording.
But this one sounds like, like a CNN intro.
It really does. And you
so
need to have that.
So you've got that. I put that gravitas on the voiceover there.
Gravitas. I haven't heard that in a long time. I haven't heard that since the 2000 elections. I like that. Well, you know what? When you go to an interview, you want to be at your very best. And you want to make sure that you've got everything polished, dot the I's and all that. Well, in this situation, a woman was arrested during an employment meeting with the sheriff's department in Marshall County, Indiana.
Okay.
That's right. During an employment meeting with the Marshall County Sheriff's Department, a woman was arrested for driving under the influence, DUI. According to the Sheriff's Department, the woman, 39, of Plymouth, came in just before 9 a.m. for a scheduled meeting related to her inquiry into the appointment with the police department.
Oh, my goodness.
While speaking with the applicant, Captain Jeff Snyder observed slurs in speech along with an alcohol smell on her breath.
A good start to an interview. Healthy interview start.
She admitted to driving to the sheriff's department after consuming alcohol that morning. One officer obtained a certified breath test, which showed a result of 0.158, nearly twice the legal limit. Ooh. And yes, so folks, what kind of lesson can we learn from this? Friends don't let friends drink to an interview, especially with law enforcement agencies. So that's a little something,
good thing to keep in mind next time I apply for a job at at a law enforcement agency.
That's right. A Minnesota man jailed following Skittles assault. That's right, Minnesota man jailed following Skittles assault. Taste rainbows, yes.
No, not pocket stand. It was pocket Skittles.
Yes, Skittles. Taste the rainbow. A Minnesota man is behind bars following an unprovoked Skittles attack on a restaurant patrons and employees.
It would have been so much better if it had been a provoked Skittles attack.
I know. Exactly. Get lodged in somebody's throat and they choke. I mean, that's dangerous. Pick an eye out.
Imagining a guy with a slingshot and little Skittles.
Little miniature slingshot with the little skit. Oh man. So the investigators say a 19-year-old male walked into a local eatery Friday afternoon and began throwing Skittles at employees and customers. In a court filing, a woman identified as victim 1. I can't keep a straight face. Victim 1. Victim 1 told the police that she was hit in the back with a Skittle, which caused a stinging pain.
Oh, that must have been a fast Skittle.
I mean, that sucker shot out.
He's getting some speed on him. Suckers.
I mean, he got some Highland Games going on. Upon arriving at the restaurant, a cop noticed Skittles all over the ground and bags of Skittles near the garbage. Based on the description provided by the woman, police knew the male's identity because the suspect has been arrested twice by the police in the recent months. Imagine that.
Okay.
The 19-year-old was charged with a misdemeanor assault for alleged Skittles assault. He's also facing a misdemeanor disorderly conduct and resisting police. He was also arrested in May for possession of LSD.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
So remember, when tasting the rainbow, make sure it's not LSD. And that is stupid news.
This has been the Weird and Stupid News with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
Taste the rainbow. Taste them.
Oh my God.
I wish I could make this stuff up, but I can't. What makes anybody walk into just a place out of just, well, unprovoked and throw Skittles at people?
I don't even. Oh my goodness.
I mean, I've never been on LSD before, but do you see rainbows in LSD? I don't
know.
I don't know. I've never been scared straight before, so I don't know.
The Beatles apparently saw Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, so I think anything's possible.
Anything is possible.
So before we get into the episode, I do want to say there is one little thing that happened to me this week, and I'm pretty sure I shared it with you, and I just thought it was hysterical. Okay. I posted a meme on my personal Facebook page about, and it was like two people texting back and forth. And have you gotten the random text from somebody who is like, hey, had this number in my phone, can't figure out who you are? Well, it's a scammer.
They're
just texting random numbers, hoping they find somebody to scam. So I posted a meme about that, and it was a back and forth text. And the replier said, "I'm Batman." And then there was like, "Oh, what's your name?" "Mine's such and such." And they replied back, "The Batman." And then the person said, "Well, maybe we could send photos to each other and figure out if we know each other." Because, that's something you want to get, photos from a random person.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So they sent a picture of a guy in a Batman costume taking a selfie in a bathroom, which is that's hysterical.
Yeah,
that is
funny.
hysterical.
Yes.
I posted that. The first comment under that was a scammer saying, "Hey, I tried to send you a Facebook request to be my friend, but it didn't go through. Can you send me a friend request?" So I replied back, "I'm Batman."
Man,
you can't make this stuff up.
You can make it up. I mean, it's like life, what's the whole saying,
life imitating art. It was definitely it was meta on meta.
Yes.
So anyway, I had to share that story.
I saw that.
That was hysterical.
Yeah. I don't want to get off topic here. We're going to talk about Secret Invasion, episode 3.
Yes, I'm sorry to.
No. I was gonna go off and talk about something else, and this is why we're here, folks. We're going to talk about this. Okay, now remember, the show just came on, and I'm going to give you some fair warning. We're going to have spoilers. So
if you haven't watched episode 3 yet, pause right now, go watch it, and then come back.
That's right. Here's your warning. That's right. That was your speaking nerdy spoiler alert alarm. And that means that we're going to talk about it. Just like you and your buddies around the water coolers talking about something that you saw the last night and not getting any work done. And at the end of the day, you get fired because you didn't do your job. You're too busy watching us on the YouTube. So that went pretty dark quickly. So last week we were, I guess we got in a hurry and we totally forgot one of the biggest parts of the ending there. Without getting in too much with it, we're going to talk about a little bit later. We all know, and go ahead. We go ahead and talk about the very ending of last week's.
Yeah. So we were, in the thick of it. And then all of a sudden we wrapped up our show.
Yeah.
And right after the show ended, I said, oh man, I was going to ask whether or not you thought, Fury knew his wife was a Skrull, because it's obvious in the show. She definitely is. There's no doubt about that in the episode. But the question is, does Fury know? Well, looks like we have the answer.
Yes,
and it's pretty clear.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious
that he definitely knows she's a Skrull. So he is literally in love with a Skrull.
It's funny this episode explains so much that's now canon that we didn't know before.
Absolutely.
It goes back to 1995, all the way back then. And of course, the introductions of the Skrulls and Captain Marvel, the introduction of, quote unquote, the first time, Agent Fury comes about. And so it's really interesting. And there's a lot of meat and a lot that's being said in this episode that touches on several different areas. And, we have, of course, the major thing that's happening is the Skrull rebels, but we find out a lot about different relationships and how they affect each other, even 30 years in the past. So, so much is going on, and it's hard to know where to start. So we're just going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to be all over the place. That's fine, but just hang on, folks. And if you have any comments, put them in there. So okay, of course, the thing is, of course, the whole thing has to do with the Rubber Skulls trying to start some type of World War III, and
absolutely. The goal of the Skrulls is to get all the humans to get into a huge war with each other, destroy themselves, so that the Skrulls can take over the planet.
That's right.
That is the preface of the show.
So now, last time when we on the show, it seems like on the train ride, Fury and Talos, let's say they just had their differences and they broke up.
They had their little spousal fight.
Yes. And I thought it was interesting, Fury coming back in the tavern is this, nothing's ever happened. And of course, Talos, it's kind of like, an unforgiving spouse,
I love the fact that Talos is not afraid of standing up to Nick Fury.
Oh, I love it.
At all. Now, to top that off, early in, I think it was the first or second episode, they basically made a comment of, Talos is weak. He gives people too much grace. His
weakness is mercy. Yeah.
Yeah. His weakness is mercy. That's the term they used. Talos is growing as a person.
Man. Oh yeah. Well,
especially in this episode, and based on things that happened later in this episode, I think we're going to see Talos go off the rails.
Oh yeah, he's gonna go all those Taken movies. He's gonna go Liam Neeson on somebody. Yes,
yes, I believe so.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Yes, so definitely, and especially the trigger word is his daughter's name. So that's one thing.
Gaia.
That's the trigger word, as we'll find out throughout this conversation about episode 3. So I thought, we were talking about a little bit of the scene in the tavern, and it was fascinating to me, just the relationship between him and Fury. Throughout this, I can tell that Talos is really loyal to him. There are several places where, Nick Fury, of course, in the business he's in, he's always leery about people around him, even people that are close to him. Not in the scene where he's talking to his Skrull wife, he's even then he has some doubts about her loyalty.
Mhm.
And, and of course, this whole thing with the Skrulls and the Rebel Skrulls and trying to figure out who is whose side are these people on. And so Talos, in one scene, Fury, I don't know if he questions him or he basically asks, why didn't you take, is it Greg? Yeah, I can't remember.
It is Gravik.
Gravik. Why didn't you take Gravik's deal?
Yeah.
And he said, what do you mean? He said, well, explain to me. And basically his own explanation is that, I'm with you. I'm on your team.
Yeah.
And it was as simple as that. And I really like Talos. Really love this actor. I think he's a great performance.
Oh yeah,
I agree
Ben
with you.
Mendelsohn is doing an amazing job.
Yeah, I think you couldn't have got a better actor in this. Great actors. I mean, I'm waiting for more of. I'm waiting more for the character of Sonya Falsworth. Is it Falsworth or Falsworth? I'm trying to think of a nice British name. Falsworth.
Falsworth is probably the right pronunciation.
There's
Olivia
not enough
Colman
of her.
is doing an amazing job.
There's
Yes,
not enough of her. There was a little scene where they call her because he wants some information because one of the submarines that are going to be, that's going to have, be infiltrated by, Rebel Skrulls is this British submarine, and he's trying to get information from her, and she's more mad about her owl anything else,
that he was spying on her.
Yeah, she wanted an apology for putting that nasty bug on her beloved Hoot. And
my favorite thing was she said, "I've changed his name. Now he is his new name is Nicholas, and he has a lovely little eye patch." It's just so perfect, and it's so it's such. Now I'm sure British people will probably take offense at her portrayal because it is such a stiff upper lip, everything. I'm going to make a joke of everything, British sitcom kind of situation with her.
Yeah.
But she's such a great character that it's fun to see that she's that playful.
Oh yeah.
At the same time, she will kill you as quick as she will look at you.
Yeah. No, exactly.
So I think that's interesting. Now you made a comment just now, a minute ago. You were trying to come up with her last name pronunciation. Have you noticed that Nick Fury, he doesn't say Talos's name the way everybody else says it? I can't recall how he pronounces it, but he pronounces it funny. And I can't decide if that is Talos. Yeah, I think he calls him Talos. Everybody else calls him Talos. And I can't decide if that's just a Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson's just going to pronounce things the way he pleases.
To. Yeah.
Or if that is because this is a technique that some people use to put people on edge and to be in control in the room by mispronouncing your name or using a different name than what your preferred name is. And I can't decide if Nick Fury ever at some point calls him Talos, then I'm going to say this whole time he's been pulling that trick. If he never calls him the right name, I think it's just a Samuel L. Jackson's just going to call people what he's going to call people. But I thought that was interesting when I hadn't noticed it in the previous episodes, but I realize now he does that.
Yeah,
he slightly mispronounces people's names, and I wonder if that's supposed to be a Nick Fury character thing to put people on edge, or if it's just Samuel L. Jackson.
Who knows? I mean, Samuel L. Jackson, he kind of does what he pleases. I mean, come on. He wanted a purple lightsaber. He got a purple lightsaber. I mean,
True. That is true.
So who knows? I like the whole idea of the relationship between Fury and Talos.
Mm-hmm.
And, they bicker with one another. And, and I love the scene when they're on their way to see the Commodore and they're driving and he talks about
they're going to go see Bob.
They're going to see Bob. and on that scene, they have a conversation about Talos says, I don't understand about dogs, picking up their poop out in the yard. And then Fury says, well, I've been picking up your poop for the past 30 years. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't. Talos looks at him. He said, you were a bench warmer when I met you in 1995.
That's so awesome.
And that was
I love it that he's just going to stand up to Nick Fury.
Yeah.
And Nick Fury's going to kind of take it.
Yeah.
So there is definitely more respect for each other.
Yeah.
Than the jabs they throw at each other.
For Rick Fury to say, I need your help and I can't do this without you.
Yes.
He wouldn't do that to too many people. So
no.
That's a sign of respect there. So
absolutely.
But it's funny because this is where you find out more about Nick Fury, about his origin story, because they showed up in 95. They signed up to be his spies, his intelligence.
Yes.
And so, so all of this is going behind the scenes, which up till now, most of us had no clue.
Right.
So I find that interesting. And of course, then it feeds into the whole fact that, hey, all the promotions you've been given is because of information that we have given you.
Yes.
And so it kind of makes you ponder that a bit, think about that a bit and going,
yes.
He used to work, he's kind of like, he used to be a pencil, kind of a pencil pusher, he used to work in a little office in the field, Nick Fury, was just Nicky. And one day he met the Skrulls and now he's Nick Fury. And so I don't know. That's fascinating to me. I mean, not something we would ever see in the comics, but definitely, it kind of adds to something that we didn't know about before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting there. But Garrick, now we're going to talk about Garrick, and this is a bad dude. Gravik. What's Garrick? Who's Garrick? That's from a different sci-fi.
From a different show, I think.
Yes, that's a different show. But yeah, so we're dealing with the Rebel Skrulls. We have the leader of the rebels, and he's pretty tricky. I mean, he's we talk about how he's trying to figure out how from the first episode they found out that they raided, I guess that they raided what was the council headquarters.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they had a young person, Brogan, who was a person that was captured by, actually, it was Sonya Fallsworth men.
Yes.
He was being tortured. And so he gave them some kind of address of some kind. They went to it, and he's trying to figure out, is he the mold? Who is the mold? What's going on? And so this whole thing, I guess the name of this episode is Portrayed. So
yes,
it's all about the portrayal of this organization and who is the snitch, who is the quote unquote traitor, which we find out later on. Is there anything particular
we all kind of knew already?
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting that he claims that this whole thing, he never expected it to work. It was always just to catch her.
which is odd to me going through all of that. But I guess it's one of those things. It's like, it's a win-win situation, right? We hit a UN plane, great for us. If we catch the mole and it doesn't happen, then great for us. So
yeah, I kind of feel like this was not really a I feel like this was not really his plan, but this is like, I'm going to accept this as, I'm going to tell everybody this was really the plan.
Yeah.
Even though I really wanted the other thing to work.
Yeah. He's a pretty ruthless individual.
Yeah.
And, from last week, we ended where Talos wanted to have a parlay with Garrick. I call him Garrick again. Is it Gravik? That's because I had Garrick in all my notes. Okay, wait a minute. Gravik, yes. Gravik. Say it again.
Gravik.
Okay. So they have a parlay with Gravik and Talos, and they meet. And it's interesting in this, and this is where we start seeing Talos gets really, let's just say he starts realizing how he's not intimidated by you. Talos is not intimidated. I mean, he's not someone who's easily intimidated. And you see the side of him
he's becoming someone no one thought he was.
Yeah.
Everybody thought he was this guy who backs down, the guy who gives up, the guy who's not willing to sacrifice. But really he is. And he's been holding back this whole time. Now, my personal favorite thing on this is the minute I saw this scene, I thought, oh, so I wonder if this was written before or after Will Smith's little episode last year. Where he literally says, you keep my daughter's name out of your mouth.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, oh, okay. So we're going to go all Will Smith here. All right. I'm good with that.
That's okay with me. What I thought was interesting in this, when he mentions his daughter's name and Talos jumps up to basically assault him, you find out quickly that he has backup around him, and they all shapeshift as him.
Yeah.
Which I find I don't know if that's kind of a metaphor or if that's just I don't know why they did that. It was kind of odd to me why they did that. Was it trying to?
I thought it was a little bit weird too, but plus I've understood. Now, maybe I misunderstood, but I have understood that the Skrulls can tell Skrulls, even if they're shapeshifted. So with that in mind, Talos knew every one of those guys was a Skrull. He knew everyone in the room was a Skrull already.
So seriously, it's fascinating to me because so far in the show, it hasn't, for some reason in the show, nothing really gives it off that they know. Know if
it seems like there was some hint at it in one episode.
Yeah.
That they know each other. They know a Skrull knows a Skrull.
Okay.
But I'm not totally clear on that. But that's what I had understood from something that was said earlier. Gravik has an interesting plan. This whole. So one thing I asked earlier, last episode, I asked whether or not these Skrulls had gotten into those positions that they got into.
Yeah.
Or whether or not they took on the bodies of those people. And from now seeing more of the people that are, being held, it's clear that they just infiltrated and took those people's positions. Because specifically, Christopher McDonald's character, is shown as being one of the guys being held.
Yes. Yeah.
So that answered that question for me.
There was a scene that got my attention when they actually went into Bob's house, Commodore Bob.
Yes.
And somehow Bob had the upper hand of Talos and has him. And of course, Talos radios, Fury and basically say, "Hey, Nick," which no one calls him Nick.
Yeah.
And then Fury comes up and has Bob's son. Okay.
Yes.
Bob's son. Now, his son, as far as I know, is not.
I gather that the son is Bob's real son.
Okay.
And that Bob is captured. So that actually, the conversation the comments I just made, I think lead into exactly what you're saying.
Okay. Now, my thing is that Bob, if he's really a Skrull, which he is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was a Skrull because they killed him and he turned back into a.
So human. What's no, exactly. But then his relationship with the real Bob's son, I mean, I don't see the exchange there because, Zachary is
really not a Skrull.
It's not a Skrull. You see where I'm getting at on this thing?
I kind of do. And so this is a weird situation. And the only way I can play this off is, number one, Nick Fury just says to him, "This is not a negotiation, Bob."
Yeah.
Number two is that is that if he says, "All right, go ahead and kill him," his cover's blown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, so either way, his cover is going to be blown here.
Yeah.
The only way out is to get Nick Fury to back down and leave. So either his son realizes he's a Skrull. Now he's got to deal with this kid who knows he's a Skrull. Or, so I think it's one of those. It was kind of I'm not really. I mean, unless his son was a Skrull, but I don't think he was.
I don't think so either. There was no reference to that. Yeah, there's no reference to it. So,
yeah, and plus, I don't think. I mean, as ruthless as Nick Fury is from time to time, I don't feel like Nick Fury would have shot the real Bob in front of his son.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Even if he was a Skrull, I don't think he would have shot him in front of a Skrull son.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's the way I'm playing it in my brain. It was more of a ploy of you don't have a way out of this, because if I give up, your son's going to know you're a Skrull anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now let's talk a little bit about Talos and his daughter,
Gaia.
Yeah, Gaia. And what's your thoughts on this? Just a little bit on the scene, especially we find out. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, it seems apparent to me that Gaia has now seen Gravik for who he really is.
Yeah.
And she is turning in, she's turning against Gravik.
Yeah.
I don't have any other explanation for what she's doing or how she's doing it, other than to say Talos, her dad, finally has convinced her to look at Gravik in a new light.
Yeah.
And now she's able to see it clearly.
Yeah. Well, basically, she gave them the information that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
and situations where she ended up, having to get I think it was a code to stop.
Yes. So she
stop
had to
the
go
launch,
down.
yes.
She'd had to go down and brain join. I don't know how you do
I
it,
don't
but
know what
she had to find out the information from the real Bob, who is being held by the Skrulls.
But the bottom line, do we think she's dead? I don't think she's dead.
Dude, that when
Is
he
she
shot
dead?
her. Okay, so I think there's one of two things. If she's really dead, Talos is going to come unglued.
Oh yeah.
And he is going to go slaughter some Skrulls.
Oh yeah.
No questions.
Yeah, he's gonna go all Ronin, all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's
He's
gonna
gonna
go
go
Ronin.
all Rambo and just start slaughtering people.
Yeah.
When he finds out the truth. So that is a question in my brain. The other possibility is she's not really dead.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure. I mean, it seems to me like when people get shot in this show, they die, whether they're Skrulls or not.
Yeah, I was reading an article, and the article says evidence pointing to Gaia surviving the shooting. It says lies. He said all lies in the official secret trailer, invasion trailer release before the season began. They said one scene regarding her discovering a cavernous room filled with pods. Then there was another one, he said, of her leaning against a pool table talking to Fury. Apparently there were some scenes in the trailer. I don't remember those scenes. But as far as he's talking about is, in this, and I think it was from Screen Rant, they were saying that, these are scenes that we have not seen yet. So he's using that as his premise that she's still alive. Now, I think what could be this could be a setup, not a setup, but this is as the show set up for Talos just to go all, bat crazy. And then finds out later she's still alive. So that could be it too. I don't know.
Yeah, that could happen.
But I mean, if you're going to kill Maria Hill right from the get-go, then everybody else is a target. I mean, so I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's one of my things here is if Maria Hill is dead, there's no reason Gaia can't die.
Yeah, because she's not really a main character of the Marvel universe as a whole.
Right. She's kind of a main character in this show, but she's not a long-term Marvel character, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm a little torn, but we know her mother has died.
Yes.
So, what's to say she's not dead? The other thing I would say is trailers have been notoriously misleading.
That's true. That's true.
We, especially Marvel trailers, we have often seen Marvel trailers where the characters or the scenes never happen in the show. Yes, they got shot for whatever reason. Either they got shot very specifically to mislead us in the trailer, or they were shot and got cut because the story changed.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. And I would have to go back and rewatch the trailer to confirm that. But it does appear most of the things that we've seen in the trailer. I mean, of course, there's also the scene where now is Nick Fury this I do recall from the trailer. Is Nick Fury a junior? Because there's a scene in the trailer where he and Olivia Colman's character go to a cemetery and they see they see the grave of Nick Fury.
See, I've never heard of that before.
So I'm not. So that's another question mark. Is like, I don't know.
Unless
I'm hard pressed to say. You know, I like I said, I'd have to go back and see the trailer again to remember. But it's entirely possible they face swapped somebody, or that they shot a scene that's not going to be in the show.
As we're talking about this, the scene, and I think really the big thing for me right now is between Fury and her and Priscilla, which is his wife. Now,
who's also called something else.
Was it also
Vera? Is that what?
I believe that's what it is. Yes.
Bara.
Yes.
Bara.
So a lot is happening from there. I mean, there's a whole relationship between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
she's not happy with it. Nobody is happy with Nick Fury right now.
No, nobody is. I mean, everyone.
Talos is not happy with him. Olivia Colman's character, because I can never remember her name, she's not happy with him. His wife is not happy with him.
No,
he's having a hard day.
Yeah, he is. You know, I like the scene when she talks about, she was called him out, disappearing on his own volition instead of opposed to being, taken from her by the blip, and then he questions her, who is she now? And she talks to him about, I was a widow crying for my husband, and him being away for so long, I became myself before I was your wife, what does that mean? And it's fascinating that this particular character also is the one who introduced Fury to Gravik when he was a boy. So you have all these associations.
And this crazy phone call at the end of the episode.
Exactly.
Where she wants to go meet with Gravik.
Mm-hmm.
But did you catch the voice?
Yes.
It's Rhodey.
It's Rhodey.
And so Rhodey apparently is a Skrull. Congrats for you noticing that early on. Mm-hmm. I wasn't convinced, but now I am. I'm not convinced he was at first, but now he is. I'm not sure which the answer is. But that's an interesting twist. Is
he in one of those pods, or has he always been a Skrull?
Oh, has he always been a Skrull? I don't know. He's been a Skrull ever since ever since
Iron Man, the beginning.
Since Iron Man.
Yeah.
Since Iron Man 2.
Yeah. That's right, because he shapeshifted to a different character. Yeah.
He turned into he's a whole new man.
That's right.
In more than one way.
That's right.
I am interested to see. I'm not convinced that she's really on Gravik's side.
I don't think so either.
But I think she has some affinity there to him. And I think she probably feels like she has some pull.
Yeah.
That she may or may not actually have.
Well, in this scene, she tells the caller, let me talk to Gravik. And of course, that's Rhodey's voice on the other end and says, no. Yeah.
You got me.
You got me. So there's a correlation there. Gravik and Rhodey, or at least the clone Rhodey, whatever this might be on the other side, which we'll probably find out. Yeah, Skrull Rhodey Skrull. And So, and you could tell in the scene where she opens up the safe deposit box, she opens up and she sees a gun, and you can see the hesitation, because we all know what this looks like. It comes across as if you're going to kill Nick Fury. That's the only thing I can think of, unless it's something else.
Well, what I was thinking of is she going to go? Does she think she's going to go kill Gravik to end this mess? So either way, the hesitation is interesting.
Yes.
She pulls the gun out, definitely like, I'm going to use this.
Yeah.
Then she's not sure she's going to use it.
Yeah.
So who is she going to use it on? Does she use it on Nick Fury, who she's kind of mad at? Or does she use it on Gravik, who she's kind of disappointed in?
Yeah.
I'm a little unsure. I feel like, since she said, I want to talk to Gravik, I feel like that's what her plan was.
You think so?
That she was going to go, that she was going to take the gun, meet with Gravik, and she was going to end this thing. So that she can have her Nick Fury back.
Yeah. Part of me was wondering too, if, because it was before I caught on that the voice was Rhodey on the other end. Part of me was wondering, when she says, I want to talk to Gravik, if Gravik was still in charge and was telling her, you need to kill Nick Fury. So that's where I came from it. But now thinking of it being Rhodey, it could be the real Rhodey. I don't know. It's so confusing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because why if Rhodey was a Skrull, why would he want Gravik killed? But but
I don't know that he wants. So here's my thought. Rhodey is a Skrull. So here's a possibility.
Okay,
Rhodey is a Skrull.
The real one?
No, not the real one. But Rhodey is a Skrull right now.
Right now, yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
And Rhodey is kind of an enforcer of sorts. So when she calls, she wants to talk to Gravik.
Yeah.
Because she wants to end this. Because she wants to talk to Gravik.
Yeah.
But as an enforcer for Gravik, Rhodey Skrull says, no, you've got me.
Okay.
Gravik is unavailable to you.
Yes.
Even though she feels like Gravik should definitely be available to her because of whatever she feels like he should owe her for whatever,
Yeah.
Did she put him in a position where he was able to do all these things he was able to do? And she feels like it's all kind of her fault, and she needs to take care of it. But at the same time, the Skrulls also know that now she's involved, she wants to take care of it in this way, and they won't let her near Gravik because they know she'll kill him.
Well, now the question is, didn't she go to the deposit box and into the vault because someone told her to, that she was supposed to go there, or she grabbed a key?
No, I feel like she just decided to
do it within her own.
Yeah, I think this is her plan.
This is her plan.
I'm not sure what her plan is in full, but I think this is all her plan, all of her own volition. I don't think she's being controlled by anybody.
Okay.
I think probably she has some affinity for Gravik. She feels some motherly instincts there for overseeing him, and now he has gone wrong. Or maybe she even kind of bought into some of his ideas at first.
Well, that's kind of what I was wondering. So what does it mean when Rhodey says St. James Church in 1 hour?
Well, that he's going to meet with her.
Interesting.
I don't know what's going to happen there.
Well, I mean,
Is
yeah.
she going to shoot Rhodey?
Well, that's what I meant. I meant for some reason in the back of my mind, I thought she was, go get the gun. And you may be totally right. For some reason, I was under the impression that, okay, she has to go. She gets the gun. Then she gets the phone call. It's going to happen in 1 hour. And that's where she's supposed to kill somebody. But after thinking about it again, that she got the key out of the vase. She didn't talk to anybody unless the text says something otherwise. I don't know. She was on the phone earlier saying, I don't have that information. Who was she talking to? We don't know.
Yeah.
So, if she does the real Rhodey has Gravik? I don't know. I doubt that.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's the real Rhodey.
I don't think so either.
I don't feel like I mean, it is supposed to be a bit of a mystery. It is supposed to be espionage. There's definitely some double agenty kind of stuff going on right now. So I'm a little unsure, but I feel good saying she had some motherly interest in Gravik.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of believed in his ideals, but maybe now she's seeing his tactics are not appropriate.
Yeah.
His ideals were good. His tactics are not.
Wiping out all humanities.
And she feels like she can get an audience with him because of some connection they have.
Yeah. Well,
that's what I think. I could be totally wrong.
No,
I've been wrong multiple times before. I'm more than willing to be wrong again.
No, and I think you're right in this. So, reframing it and thinking it in that way, yeah, I can see that happening. So, but the only way we're going to know is watch the next episode.
Yes, next episode. I'm so excited.
So,
we only have 3 more episodes.
Really?
We're already halfway through. Yeah, it's only 6 episodes.
Man.
It's going so fast.
It's going so fast. Well, I tell you what, folks, if you get a chance, watch us next week. We're going to talk about episode 4 of Secret Invasion. We'll try to be more lively and more awake that time. Have our crap together a little bit, at least my crap together, as I look through my notes, and half of my notes are everywhere. But we'll be back next week at the same time on Friday. So we're here every Friday.
Yep.
You can catch our podcast. You can go to speakingnerdy.com. We have also there, we have our listen button and we have our watch button. The watch button will take you to our YouTube page, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And the listen will take you to our different channels for podcast audio amusement. So do we have anything else, my friend, that we need to shield?
I don't have anything else. I'm just waiting for next week.
Okay. Well, I'm Mike Schilling and my good friend Ricky Pope, and we're going to sign off now.
This has been the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And I'm very tired. Oh, never mind. Ricky Pope. I was tired. I'm tired, folks. Good thing you're not paying for any of this. And my compadre Ricky Pope.